and welcome to another edition of Potluck, your everything and anything talk and entertainment TV show. My name is Laura Hartman, and I am your host. Today we have three amazing guests joining us who are a part of an unbelievable organization called Warrior Buddies, which bring unconditional love to our national heroes. So please welcome to the show the president of the Prince William County Humane Society,
Right.
Lori Leary.
Thank you.
And two of her trainers, excuse me, two of her trainers for Warrior Buddies that are part of Sit Means Sit. They are trainers, and we have
Sunny Madsen.
Manson, sorry, and Melissa Manson. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and the two dogs, of course, are we have Freya, who is a therapy dog, and this is Dee Dee, who is a warrior buddy dog.
Yes.
She's
Yep.
a Warrior Betty.
A warrior buddy.
Warrior Buddy in training.
So, how did you get Warrior Buddies started with the Prince William Humane Society?
Well, we organized Prince William Humane Society in August of 2012, and one of our primary reasons for organizing it was to create this program for the Prince William County area.
Okay.
We had heard about similar programs up in DC that were doing quite well and having really good success stories. So we felt that our proximity to Fort Belvoir Medical Hospital and Quantico Marine Corps Base would be a perfect fit to start a program like this outside the Beltway. And so when we started Prince William Humane Society, this was one of the first programs that we implemented. And it's all volunteer. Our entire organization is run by volunteers. And everything we do is on a volunteer basis. So what we wanted to do, because the Prince William County Animal Shelter is a county animal shelter, and technically it's a kill shelter, their euthanasia rate at the time was higher than acceptable, and we were looking for programs that would reduce the euthanasia rate.
Numbers, right,
yeah,
right.
And larger dogs have a little bit harder time getting adopted than the cute small ones or the younger ones. And what we were looking for was a way to get some of the larger dogs adopted. So with starting this program, obviously, you know, Dee Dee is a larger dog, Freya is a larger dog. We knew that there would be a way to get them out of the shelter and at the same time help the wounded heroes that are so near and dear to our hearts.
Sure.
So we started the program, and it's all done by donations. We pay for the adoption fee. We pay to have the dog spayed or neutered. We have a wellness check done by the veterinarian, and all the vaccinations and microchipping is paid for by the Prince William Humane Society.
Wow.
And then our fabulous trainers come in, and they do all of the pre-evaluations of the dogs from the shelter, the screening, and all the training for free, out of the goodness of their hearts.
Wow, that's awesome. So just for people that may not know about what this really is, can you explain more, you know, in depth about how, you know, this dog is for therapy and this one is a warrior buddy?
I'll let Sunny do that.
Okay.
Well, there's a basic distinction between a service dog and a therapy dog. A service dog is a working dog that provides a specific medical task for one individual. So if you look up what a service dog is on the internet, one of the first things it'll say is it's not a pet, it's a working dog. Whereas a therapy dog is a dog that gives and receives affection freely. So a therapy dog is a dog that is a pet, does belong to a person or a family, and has excellent obedience skills and is able to go out into the community. Those are the dogs that you see going into nursing homes or assisted livings. We do a reading program at some of the local libraries, and people can take their dogs in and just share them. So they do have to have a very good skill set as far as their basic obedience. They have to be kid-friendly, animal-friendly, be able to walk in close proximity to other animals. Service dogs are very, very specific. They have more training than any of the other dogs, and they are all done on an individual basis depending on what that particular person or handler is going to need.
Sure. So when the animal comes from your shelter or from the Prince William's Humane Society, how do you pick out, like, if this dog is going to be good for this and that dog's going to be good for training or therapy or whatever?
We look at a dog and we look for the overall temperament. They don't have to be well trained at that time, but we look at factors like their health. Are they in good health? We don't want to take an healthy dog and give that to a soldier and give them a financial burden. So we're looking for health. We're definitely looking for age. That's a factor, because you don't want to give a dog that's going to go through all of this training and the life expectancy is only 2 years from there. So ideally we look somewhere between 1 and 3 years, but again, on an individual basis. Sometimes you've just got that perfect dog and they're 3.5, we're not going to turn them away. And then we look for their ability, their trainability. Do they have a good attention span? Are they eager to please? Are they friendly? And then we start taking it up a notch. We see if they're kid friendly, if they're cat friendly, if they have anxiety towards loud noises and fast movement, anything like that. And that kind of gives us an idea. But we do a certain level of training before we ever try to match them up with a warrior. And then there's a certain amount of chemistry that has to take place. You can't just take a dog and say, you're number 5 and you're number 5, so boom, there you go. If they don't like each other, then there's no companionship or relationship there. It's all for nothing.
Now, what happens if there's a soldier that really loves the dog, but the dog is, does that ever happen where you have to say, no, I'm sorry, you can't have this dog?
Well, it hasn't happened yet, because the pool of dogs that we have, we already know are trainable. So we don't want them just to go into the shelter and say, oh, that one's pretty, I want to take it home.
But on the other hand, there is a small amount of risk when you're taking a dog. Right now, the way the program works is a wounded service member will apply for the program through our website, and we review the application. The Warrior Buddies team gets together and approves the application, and then Sunny will go out and interview that individual and find out what their specific needs are, why they want a service dog, what type of dog they want, what their living environment is, do they have a fenced yard. All of that stuff is taken into consideration. And then she'll go back to the shelter. We work with a few different shelters, and she'll go back to the shelters and she'll look for a good candidate, or several, preferably several. But because we don't have a facility of our own at this point, when the wounded service member then comes to the shelter to meet the dogs that she's already pre-evaluated and pre-screened, they bond with one of the dogs, hopefully, and they'll say, okay, I want to try that dog, I want that dog, and the adoption is done right then and there, and they take the dog home. The dog's then spayed or neutered and goes on for its training. We don't have, the ability to determine what the dog's true personality is outside of the shelter environment in that type of an atmosphere. So what we're trying to do, or what we're doing right now, is we're creating a Warrior Buddies training and adoption center, where we're going to be taking 4 to 6 eligible dogs that we have seen at the shelter that we know would make good service animals, and take them to our training center, where we will socialize them and give them basic obedience training, and have different volunteers work with them, so they get used to working with a lot of different people, and they're completely socialized. We know what their personalities are. We know that they're housebroken. They've learned the quiet command, so that
very important.
And so that way, when the service member comes, or gives us their application and we approve it, they can come to our location and see what dogs are available there.
Now, does anybody come outside of like Prince William or Fairfax County, or like other states to get these dogs?
Yes, we've had several requests. We actually have one right now up in Northern Maryland. But typically they're coming from with a medical referral from Quantico or from Fort Belvoir. So they may be from anywhere else. We've had some of the dogs have gone home with their service members of their Warrior Buddy to Texas, to Delaware, California. So our dogs are all over the country. They don't necessarily stay in this area, but when they get the original referral and do their original training, they are in the Prince William County area or Northern Virginia area.
Because I think that the training is in Fairfax. Is that where?
It's So it's in
You do.
all of Northern Virginia.
Oh, okay.
But ideally, we don't want to just hand over a dog that is completely trained. We want that process to be side by side with our handler. We believe it builds a bond and a certain amount of responsibility towards each other. That's really what they need in order
Right.
to coexist in a real tight situation all the time.
Sure. Now, how long does it take to train these dogs to where they are able to, you know, move forward to do therapy or, you know, to be a service dog?
That depends.
It does.
Okay.
They have different platforms that they start off with just basic obedience.
Okay.
Then from there, we try to get them. The next step is their Canine Good Citizen certification, and a lot of it's going to depend on where we're going. Are we going service or are we going therapy? And the process that we're trying to implement to be very consistent with is to make sure that if they do live here locally in Virginia, that they're able to continually come to training with their dog, basically for the rest of their life. It's there for them if they want it.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And if they go out of state, is there some other organization if it's available to hook up with for them
If
to
they've
do
gone
the same
through the
thing?
Sit Means Sit is part of the largest dog training franchise in the history of the U.S. So we're pretty much everywhere.
Oh, wow.
So if someone comes here, and we call them a transplant, and they've gone through the training, and then say they go to Colorado, I would contact a trainer in Colorado and say, hey, we have a client that's coming down, and they would do a first-time evaluation, and more than likely, right after that, they roll into their training. So we're pretty much everywhere for them.
Wow. So, in regards to the you know, the soldiers or, you know, veterans or whoever, what kinds of medical issues can they have to get a dog? Like, you know, PTSD or brain injury, or, you know, I don't know what
Yeah,
other.
typically that's what we're
qualifies.
seeing is PTSD and traumatic brain injury patients. We have some that have physical wounds. You know,
Okay.
we had one amputee, a Vietnam veteran who was an amputee,
Okay.
and that we were working with. And
So you have some of the
basically,
older, like, Vietnam vets. That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, as long as they're a veteran, we are not going to turn them down.
Right, yeah. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So you have an event coming up next month, correct?
Yes.
So do you want to talk about that? Or actually, this month, I should say, on the 29th of August?
So, so we have an event coming up. It's the Pet Extravaganza event. It's
Okay.
August 29th and 30th. They've essentially taken over the back half of Old Town Manassas.
Oh, nice.
Manassas has been very good to us. They've been helping us a lot with
Which
with
is a
the planning.
great place to go visit.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's such a
Great restaurants.
We really like, you know, our Sit Means Sit facility is in it's in Centerville, but it's kind of on the Manassas Park side of Centerville.
Okay,
And so we really felt that, you know, utilizing that space is so important because it's kind of reaching out to the local community. We've been in our space with Sit Means Sit has been up and going, I want to say, for 6 months, something like that.
January.
Yep. So
Yeah.
6 or 7 months. And so because we've been getting the space up and going and so many things have been going on with the Warrior Buddy program, we haven't really had the chance like we would have liked to reach out to, you know, do more things in Manassas. And so we thought that's a good way to utilize that space.
Sure, yeah.
So we are working with Manassas Museum. They're a huge green space, and then we've taken over all of essentially Grant Avenue, up to
Okay,
Grant Avenue in the back. We're hosting between 50 and 60 vendors.
Oh,
We
wow.
will have a kids corner. We're going to have a competition level agility course that is being sponsored by the Animal House. Sit Means Sit is going to have tons and tons of games happening.
Oh, nice. Cool.
The therapy team will be out there. So we just have a lot of things going on. One of the purposes of the event is to essentially showcase a nonprofit. This year it will be the Warrior Buddy program.
Oh.
So kind of being able to, I think that there are so many different programs and so many different things that are going on throughout the U.S. I think that it's overwhelming when you start to Google from a veteran standpoint.
Yeah.
You say, you know, you make the decision, you know, you've gone to see whoever it is you need to see, you've received your waiver, and now you have to do the research to find out where the best places to go to get a dog, to get a companion animal, a therapy service dog. And then you start Googling those things and hundreds of pages of information, and it's hard to wade through that. So I think by showcasing a nonprofit that specializes in that area really gives them access to the information that they need to kind of help them wade through all of the information that they receive for something like that.
Okay.
Especially since if you look at some of the other programs, there are years-long waiting lists.
Oh, wow.
And these individuals, they don't have years to wait. They don't
Yeah.
want to wait those years to have their therapy dog or their service dog, or they have such strict criteria that they're turned away when they need one.
Right,
And I think
right.
that you know, with the way that the Warrior Buddy program is run and the way that it partners with Sit Means Sit really alleviates a lot of those issues. And so being able to to have better access to being able to reach the end goal. And so we want to be able to showcase that and give them that information for that. So in our process right now, we're getting sponsors and we're going through the vendors and things like that. And so the idea is to be able to turn a portion of the profits over to the Warrior Buddy program to help them to continue to market their program so that it gets recognition on a bigger scale.
Right. Now, is word getting out to the veterans about this? To soldiers and veterans?
Yes. So we are. We've been reaching out to first sergeants on the various bases, which are really the first point of contact to doing an event like that.
Okay. So you have contacts that can contact the military people?
Yes. So we have a couple people who are actually veterans who are on our team.
Okay.
We have some veterans that are on our team.
Oh, okay, nice.
We have. We've actually, Warrior Buddies has just become one of these sponsorees, maybe, for a poker run. Through the Philistines MC, so that's exciting.
Okay.
And what they're going to, all of in their motorcycle club, they're all veterans, or have all been, they've all served at some point. So they have decided that they want to turn over the proceeds to the Warrior Buddy program and another organization called Semper K9, and so they will be the recipients for that. Okay. So utilizing those contacts as well to get the information out.
Now this is the 29th and 30th, or just
of
the
August.
29th?
29th and 30th. It's a 2-day event.
Okay.
So it means that we'll be running pack runs. They'll be doing, we'll do costume design and costume competition, things like that. Okay. There are some of us in Sit Means It who are highly competitive, so we'll turn several things into big time competitions while we're out there. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, and there will be lots of, I guess there will be therapy and service dogs out there.
Yes, we will have dogs galore.
And lots of water, because in case it's hot.
We will have pools, the kiddie pools set up.
Okay.
We have invited dogs out, so we're hoping they'll be able to come out and set up and kind of showcase that. And the idea is to have different events running the entire time. So Animal House will run 4 or 5 times at specified hours, and then we'll partner that with the things that Sit Means It is going to do, like the pack walks. We'll also tandem that with what Dogs wants to do, and so there will be something happening all the time, which is good. We're also having a food alley, which I'm very excited about. I do love food. And we've decided, initially we wanted to bring the food trucks in because the food trucks don't get out to Manassas enough because it's a little farther out of the Beltway, but we've decided that anybody who's ever eaten in Old Town Manassas knows that there's so much good food.
There's a lot of good restaurants and live music, which I love.
Yes. Have you, so we've decided to contact local. I can talk about food all day. We've decided to contact more local. So places like Okra's, Zandra's, CJ Finn's, The Bone. So, and some of those restaurants have their own food trucks they're able to bring. So the Manassas Museum has been fabulous. They have essentially given us free reign of their space. Wow. So we're going to put the food alley over in their parking lot. The agility course will be over in their big giant green space, and then Sit Means It'll be over in their big green space.
Okay, great. So how else are you promoting this? You have it on the website, I take it?
We do. We actually just designed a website. Okay. So that will be launched, we're hoping, this evening. Okay. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. Okay. We have we are doing Nova Dog. We have reached out to Inside Nova. We have like Fido, any events that you can go to and essentially search on a calendar and say what's going on here. Right. We've marketed to.
Oh, awesome!
And we're also putting out a special invitation to anyone who watches the show who is a warrior who has a dog. We would love for them to come by and just say hi. Right. And we just want to be able to share the fact that we do support them, and we can never say thank you enough. Dee Dee actually belongs to a recipient of the Purple Heart, and he's he's still in active service right now, so he's not up here on the stage, but he's only been her handler now for about, I want to say, under 2 months, and they've got a great relationship. So the situation that came about was he had actually applied to a couple of different organizations, and unfortunately there's a lot of red tape that goes on when you're trying to get a service dog. That was originally how I became a trainer, was trying to find a service dog for a family member. And I realized how difficult it was. So one thing led to another, and it changed my whole life, and now I'm a trainer.
Why is there a lot of red tape with some of the other organizations?
I'd love to give you an answer for that, but I don't know why. I just know that there is.
They're just being really picky.
If you look at the criteria, you have to at least, more recently you have to serve within these amount of years, and you have to have this specific thing. You have to have these waivers from these organizations, and you have to
That's
have
not
these
that easy.
prescriptions, and you have to be able to show these
Wow.
scans. And so there's so much. And when you're dealing with somebody who has a traumatic brain injury or PTSD, they don't want to talk to 100 different people about what they have
And
going
it's an
on.
overwhelming process.
They
Right.
don't, and so
Wow.
it's it's essentially, what's wrong? What do you need? Okay, great. What's wrong? What do you? It's like they go down the line, and at some
Right,
point
right.
they're just discouraged. Oh jeez, they just get discouraged, and they're like, this isn't necessarily worth what I need,
Right,
and then they
right.
stop the process. And to me, it's such a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Well, also the waiting list. I mean, there are some, like she was saying, some of the waiting lists for some of
Years.
these organizations are years long.
Wow.
3,
And the
5,
cost.
10 years, and the cost is overwhelming.
The
a lot
cost
of these
can be
people.
$30,000 to $50,000, and it's just
Oh my
that's a
goodness.
lot of
Wow.
There's no
scary.
guarantee that the VA will cover that cost, or
No.
and
Right.
you can.
And then they're assigned a dog. You know, it's
Where
like she
is
was
it?
saying, you're number 5 on the list. This is number 5 dog on the list. Here you go. There's your dog.
And they didn't do the personality or
and
whatever.
so
Not necessarily.
so it comes. So if you're coming to us and you have PTSD, for example, and I give you Dee Dee, right? She's a really good dog. She's falling
off the steps.
She's tired, but she's a good dog. She's well mannered, but you have this. Come on, baby girl.
baby.
You okay? I know you've been laying down.
Yeah.
So you have whatever it is that you have going on, and you need a companion. You need somebody
Sure.
who's going to be able to reach over to you and say, "It's okay, you're fine." You have to have a bond to do that.
Right, right.
And so for me to say, "You're 5, she's 5, here you go," you haven't built that bond with her.
Right.
So you spend weeks, months building that with her, and the whole time you're trying to get her to kind of acclimate to what you need, right? And so, but if you come to Prince William Humane Society and they say, okay, we're going to partner you with this dog, or you like this dog, let's try this. You have all that time that you're doing the training, that you're getting them through their CGC and their therapy or their service. You're doing all those things. You're coming over all those hurdles together.
You're learning together.
And so it's such a different dynamic.
So the veterans are actually taking classes.
We train. We train with them side by side. And the word we're trying to get out with the Warrior Buddies is the dogs are more accessible than they may know, and we want to help in any way we can.
Okay.
And we don't have a 3-year waiting list, and we don't charge $50,000, $60,000
And
for
a
a dog.
lot of
We don't charge anything. It's
No.
all free.
Yep.
I mean, there's no cost at all
Crazy.
to our.
And some organizations, they use breeders, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you get a certain health guarantee with a breeder dog.
Right, right.
But when you come, so then you have to wait for the litters, and then you have to wait until they're old enough to start the training, and you have to go through all these things. When if you look at the astronomical amount of dogs that are in shelters every single day.
It's
Yeah.
horrible.
And if you look at the ratio between what dogs are euthanized versus what dogs get homes, it's absolutely mind-blowing.
Right,
And
right.
so you should take the avenues, and I think that's one of the reasons I think why I love the program so much, is because they've taken that avenue and said, not every dog in the shelter is going to be the right dog to do this kind of work, but there are dogs in there that can.
right,
You
right.
don't necessarily know what their back history is. There are dogs who have been turned over for hundreds of different reasons. So utilize them. They're there.
Sure.
And all they want to do is please. They're dogs. All they want to do is please. And there's so many of them that can help these men and women. And that's all they need.
Right.
They need somebody who is going to give them unconditional love, who is going to be happy to see them when they come home, and who will help them through the dark times.
It's
And
a
that's-
second chance.
Yeah.
For both
And that's what it
awesome.
is.
Well, we are starting to run short on time.
Oh, darn.
But I do want to talk about this beautiful bracelet.
Yes.
Soldier to
that
soldier bracelet.
Yes, please talk about them.
Well, Jenny Carroll, the owner of Jewelry by Design in Woodbridge, is an amazing woman, and she heard about our program, and she was so thrilled about it that she actually had a whole inventory of these, and she decided to give us her entire inventory as a fundraiser for us. Rather than selling them and giving us a portion of the proceeds, she donated the entire inventory. So we got 107 of these Soldier to Soldier bracelets. They come in 4 different colors. This one's camo,
Okay.
and this one's navy.
I think you and I are
most of
wearing
us are
camo.
Oh, okay.
But they come in sand, navy, silver, black, and camo. Did I miss one?
Nope.
Yeah.
That's the four that we have.
And they have different hearts on them, and then the
Are they all
men's have a
blingy?
button.
Nope.
No, some of them are plain.
So you'll see these are, some of them are
yeah.
flat, some of
Uh-huh.
them have one single jewel at the top, at the crest
Oh,
of the
nice.
heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of them are completely,
Some for men,
Jewels.
some for women.
Some for men,
Oh, okay.
and
I was
the
gonna-
men's is a soldier. It's a button that says "From Soldier to Soldier" on it. It's very nice, very nice.
we don't put any
And
jewels on the men's.
They normally sell for $145 for the women's and $95 for the men's, and we're asking for a donation of $75 for the women's and $50 for the men's, and it's you know, it all goes to
your
our
organization.
organization.
That's
It's
great.
501c3, and all of the money, 100% of the money, is going to go to the Warrior Buddies
Oh, nice.
program, so that we can get our center up and running.
Oh, that'd be great. So, speaking of the center, real quick, where are you going to? Is the center going to be in Prince William County?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We're actually looking at a location right now,
Oh,
so
nice.
that's very promising for us.
I can't
It's
wait.
exciting time.
We'll have
Yeah,
to bring
it
you
is.
back when you have it, so you can talk about it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that would be great.
So, as far as websites for people to find out more about the event next month and to find out about these bracelets,
Right.
Go to
www.pwhumane.org. As in Prince William, pwhumane.org, and it's right on our homepage, and we're going to be posting the event on our homepage also and under our events, and it'll also be on our Facebook page, which is basically the same, facebook.com/pwhumane.org.
Okay, great. And for Sit Means Sit, you guys have a website as well?
We do. It's real easy. Fairfax.sitmeansit.com.
Okay, great.
And so for the event as well, the easiest way, we post daily updates.
Okay.
As well as we also post regular updates on all the dogs that are going through the Warrior Buddies program. So
Okay.
That's just Facebook Warrior Buddies
Okay.
and Facebook Pet Extravaganza.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes,
It's
thank
Thank you
you.
for having
been
us.
great to see these doggies,
job,
even though
Dee.
they've been
Good
nice and
job,
relaxed
Freya.
and whatever. So, anyway, if you're just tuning in, make sure you catch us on the web at www.potluck-online.org. And make sure you come out to this event. It's a wonderful event out in Manassas, Old Town Manassas. Grab some food, drinks, and
Lots
talk
of
to
fun.
people, find out more about
And pet some
veterans and
dogs.
what they do, and these dogs, what they do for the veterans and so forth. And anyway, we will see you next time. All right.
Thank you.
again.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.